When my daughter-in-law Jessica screamed, "You're nothing but a bitter old woman living off charity," and slapped me across the face at my grandson's birthday party, she had no idea she was striking the anonymous founder of Chen Digital Industries, the $280 million technology empire that secretly owned the startup where her husband worked as CEO, funded the venture capital firm that had discovered their family business, and whose private foundation had been quietly paying for their children's elite private school tuition, luxury family vacations, and the Silicon Valley lifestyle they believed they had earned through their own entrepreneurial brilliance and superior business acumen. My name is Eleanor Chen. I'm 74 years old, and this story begins on March, when what should have been a joyful celebration of my grandson Lucas's 12th birthday turned into the night that would expose my family's true character and trigger the most devastating will reading that the Palo Alto elite social circle had witnessed in over 40 years. I had been living what my family believed was a modest retirement in a simple two-bedroom apartment in Mountain View, a comfortable but unremarkable senior living community that my son Michael and his wife Jessica assumed was typical housing for elderly immigrants living on Social Security and small savings from my late husband David's engineering career at what they considered a forgotten tech startup from the 1980s. My son Michael, now 48 and what he believed was a successful tech entrepreneur, along with his wife Jessica, 44, and their two children Lucas and Emma, ages, treated me with the kind of patient tolerance that busy Silicon Valley families often show elderly relatives they perceive as gradually becoming more dependent and less relevant to their fast-paced, innovation-driven lifestyle. Michael, standing 6'4" and with the casual confidence of someone who wore $800 designer jeans to million-dollar investor meetings, had built what he believed was a groundbreaking artificial intelligence startup called Neuralink Technologies, the company which developed machine learning algorithms for predictive analytics in healthcare, had raised $47 million in Series B funding and employed 180 people in a sleek Palo Alto office space with floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the Stanford campus, and craft coffee bars that served single-origin beans flown in from Ethiopian highlands, and meditation pods equipped with biometric monitoring that reflected the kind of tech company culture that attracted top talent from Stanford and Berkeley, while positioning Neuralink as an industry leader in the competitive artificial intelligence market that was reshaping healthcare technology throughout Silicon Valley and beyond. His wife Jessica, with her perfectly blown-out auburn hair that required weekly $300 appointments at Palo Alto's most exclusive salon, and a wardrobe of Lululemon athlete blazers, and Hermes accessories that cost more than most families' annual grocery budgets, had transformed from a former marketing coordinator at a mid-tier SaaS company into what she considered a sophisticated Silicon Valley entrepreneur's wife and influential lifestyle blogger. She managed their family's demanding schedule of networking events at the Stanford Graduate School of Business, exclusive fundraisers for environmental nonprofits, and social obligations that included wine tastings in Napa Valley and private dinners with venture capitalists, while maintaining an Instagram presence that showcased their enviable lifestyle to her 47,000 followers who admired their family adventures, home design aesthetic, and what appeared to be effortless success in Silicon Valley's notoriously competitive social hierarchy. Their lifestyle reflected what they believed was the natural result of Michael's technological innovation and Jessica's sophisticated family management and personal brand development. Million contemporary home in Palo Alto's prestigious Crescent Park neighborhood, with its award-winning minimalist architecture designed by a protege of renowned architect Tadao. Smart home automation systems that controlled everything from lighting and temperature to security and entertainment through voice commands and smartphone and a professionally designed Zen garden featuring imported Japanese maples and a meditation water feature that had been featured in both Architectural Digest and Sunset Magazine, as an example of how technology executives were incorporating mindfulness practices into their home environment. The vehicles in their two-car garage reflected both their environmental consciousness and their appreciation for premium performance and status. Michael's Tesla Model S Plaid that could accelerate from 0 to 60 mph in under 2 seconds, while maintaining zero emission. Jessica's Porsche Cayenne Turbo E-Hybrid, that combined luxury SUV functionality with sophisticated hybrid technology, both vehicles representing over end an automotive investment that enabled them to navigate Silicon Valley's social expectations while maintaining their commitment to sustainable transportation choices that aligned with their public positions on environmental responsibility and climate change mitigation. The private school educations for Lucas and Emma at Peninsula School, where annual tuition exceeded $58,000 per child and positioned their children alongside the offspring of Google executives, Apple directors, venture capital partners, and Stanford professor, provided access to cutting-edge STEM programs, advanced robotics laboratories, and personalized college preparation that distinguished Peninsula's graduates in admissions competitions at institutions like MIT, Stanford, Harvard, and Caltech. The school's approach to progressive education emphasized creativity, critical thinking, and social responsibility while providing the academic rigor and extracurricular opportunities that prepared students for leadership roles in technology and social innovation throughout their future careers in Silicon Valley and beyond. Jessica, with her Stanford MBA that had cost $240,000 and required 2 years of intensive study in business strategy, technology marketing, and venture capital analysis, had developed what she considered sophisticated approaches to family wealth management, social media influence, and community impact that distinguished her from typical Silicon Valley wives who focused primarily on fitness routines and charity event planning. She served on the Peninsula School's Parent Advisory Board, where she coordinated fundraising campaigns that had generated over $340,000 for the school's new artificial intelligence laboratory, organized environmental awareness programs for Palo Alto families that featured speakers from Tesla, Google's sustainability division, and local solar energy companies, and maintained her popular family blog called Mindful Tech Parenting that had attracted followers interested in her insights about raising conscious children in Silicon Valley's competitive academic and social environment, while balancing technology use with outdoor activities and mindfulness practices. The blog, which Jessica updated 3 times weekly with professionally photographed content, featuring their family's organic meal preparations, educational travel experiences, and home organization system, had become a significant source of both personal satisfaction and additional income through sponsored partnerships with premium brands like Patagonia, Whole Foods, and educational technology companies that aligned with her family's values and lifestyle choices. The sponsored content, which typically earned between $2,500 and $8,000 per post, depending on the brand and campaign scope, provided Jessica with a sense of professional accomplishment and financial contribution that complemented Michael's startup success while building her personal brand as a thought leader in conscious parenting and sustainable family living. Lucas, their eldest, had inherited his father's analytical thinking and his mother's social confidence, excelling in both robotics competitions where his team had won regional championships for the past 2 years and youth environmental activism that included organizing beach cleanups in Half Moon Bay and speaking at Palo Alto City Council meetings about bike lane safety and renewable energy initiatives. His acceptance into Peninsula School's advanced STEM program, which admitted only 24 students annually from applicants throughout the Bay Area, represented years of careful academic plan, expensive private tutoring that cost $150 per hour, and strategic extracurricular involvement that positioned him for the kind of educational trajectory that would enable admission to Stanford's engineering program or MIT's computer science department, while maintaining his family's position among Silicon Valley's next generation of technology leaders and innovators. The robotics achievements that had distinguished Lucas among his academic peers included designing autonomous navigation systems for underwater exploration robot programming, machine learning algorithms that could recognize and classify different types of marine debris, and collaborating with Stanford graduate students on research projects that investigated how artificial intelligence could improve environmental monitoring and conservation efforts throughout California's coastal ecosystem. His work had earned recognition from the California Academy of Sciences and invitations to present his research at youth technology conferences throughout the state, building a portfolio of accomplishments that would enhance his future college applications, while demonstrating his commitment to using technology for environmental and social benefit. Emma, 10 and a fifth grader at Peninsula School, displayed the same combination of academic achievement and creative expression that characterized her brother's development, with particular strengths in computer programming, digital art creation, and community service that reflected her generation's natural comfort with technology integration and social awareness. Her involvement in the school's sustainability club included designing a mobile app that helped families track their carbon footprint and identify opportunities for energy conservation, creating digital artwork that raised awareness about ocean plastic pollution, and leading coding workshops for younger students who wanted to learn basic programming skills, using child-friendly platforms like Scratch and Code Spark Academy. The volunteer work that Emma performed teaching basic computer skills to elderly residents at Serenity Gardens Senior Living, the same community where I lived, though she had no idea of my true identity or the irony of her teaching technology to residents in a building I actually owned, reflected the kind of character development and intergenerational connection that distinguished young people who understood their technological privileges, came with responsibilities to bridge generational divides and contribute meaningfully to their community. Her weekly visits to the senior center required coordination with activity directors and healthcare staff, while providing companionship and technical assistance for residents who appreciated interaction with young people who brought energy, patience, and enthusiasm to their daily routines and digital learning goals. What my family never understood during all those years of treating me like a well-meaning but technologically confused grandmother who needed help understanding smartphone features, social media privacy settings, and modern investment strategies, was that their comfortable assumptions about my limited resources and simple retirement lifestyle concealed the most sophisticated technology investment operation on the West Coast, an empire that had been operating so efficiently and invisibly that its very discretion had become both its greatest competitive advantage and my family's most dangerous vulnerability when it came to their assumptions about inheritance and continued financial security throughout their ongoing lifestyle maintenance and social positioning in Silicon Valley's notoriously expensive and competitive environment. The modest Mountain View apartment, where I had lived for 6 years, which Michael and Jessica considered evidence of my downsized circumstances and practical approach to elderly living, on what they assumed was a restricted budget supplemented by their occasional financial assistance for medical expenses and household maintenance, actually served as the central command center for Chen Digital Industries, my private technology investment company that controlled over $280 million in software patents, artificial intelligence research facilities, quantum computing partnerships, and venture capital investments throughout California, Washington, Texas, and international markets in South Korea, Taiwan, and Israel, where cutting-edge technology development required sophisticated coordination and strategic funding. The building itself, Serenity Gardens Senior Living, appeared to be typical senior housing, with its modest stucco exterior, simple drought-resistant landscaping, and basic amenities that suggested affordable accommodation for elderly residents living on Social Security and modest retirement saving. But Serenity Gardens was actually one of my first major real estate acquisitions, a 240-unit complex that I had purchased in 2018 for $34 million and transformed into a revolutionary model for technology-integrated senior housing that combined comfort, community, and cutting-edge health monitoring systems, while generating steady monthly returns exceeding $280,000 that funded continued expansion of my technology investment portfolio and research development initiatives throughout the global innovation ecosystem. The simple living room where my family gathered for holiday dinners, decorated with comfortable furniture from West Elm and family photographs arranged on modest bookshelves that displayed pictures of Lucas and Emma's school achievements alongside memories of my late husband David, contained sophisticated technology investment systems, concealed within custom entertainment centers that appeared to be traditional storage furniture designed for elderly residents who preferred classic aesthetics over modern minimalism. Behind the innocent-looking walnut cabinet doors were enterprise-grade quantum computing servers worth over $320,000, direct fiber optic connections, providing real-time access to technology markets throughout Asia, Europe, and North America, and artificial intelligence coordination infrastructure that enabled instantaneous response to patent opportunities, startup investment possibilities, and research partnerships affecting thousands of employees and dozens of technology companies, whose innovations depended on the strategic funding and development decisions I coordinated from my supposedly simple retirement apartment. The kitchen where I served my family homemade dumplings and jasmine tea during their dutiful monthly visits featured standard appliances that appeared typical for senior housing: a modest refrigerator, basic electric range, and simple dishwasher that suggested someone living on a fixed income, who prioritized function over style and avoided unnecessary luxury purchases that might strain a limited retirement budget. But the adjacent office, which they assumed was just a spare bedroom with a desk for paying bills, organizing family photographs, and managing basic correspondence with doctors and financial advisors, contained institutional-grade technology coordination systems worth over, including quantum encrypted communication networks that maintained secure connections with venture capital firms throughout Silicon Valley, patent management databases that tracked intellectual property portfolios across 17 technology sectors, and strategic planning platforms that enabled coordination with research universities, government agencies, and international technology companies throughout the global innovation development network. The sophisticated monitoring systems concealed throughout my apartment included multiple holographic displays that could be activated to show real-time status information from technology companies across my investment portfolio, automated alert systems that notified me immediately of patent applications, regulatory changes, or market opportunities requiring immediate attention and strategic response, and comprehensive financial tracking that monitored research funding, patent licensing revenue, and investment performance for every technology venture under Chen Digital Industries management. The technology infrastructure that supported these operations required dedicated electrical systems with backup generators, specialized climate control for sensitive quantum computing equipment, and internet bandwidth that exceeded what most universities utilized for their advanced research operations and international collaboration programs. But what made my technology investment operations particularly powerful wasn't just the financial infrastructure that supported comprehensive innovation coordination, it was the network of professional relationships and strategic partnerships that I had cultivated throughout my 52-year career in computer science, artificial intelligence research, and technology venture capital that stretched back to the earliest days of Silicon Valley development, when companies like Intel, Apple, and Oracle were still operating out of garages and small office buildings throughout the peninsula region, when women in technology faced systematic discrimination that required exceptional skill and determination to overcome throughout the male-dominated engineering and investment landscape. The daily coordination activities that I managed from my home office included reviewing overnight reports from technology development teams across 12 countries, analyzing patent applications and research publications that influenced investment decisions affecting millions of dollars in technology assets, and coordinating with university researchers, government laboratories, and international technology companies that enabled Chen Digital Industries maintain competitive advantages through strategic partnerships and collaborative research initiatives throughout the rapidly evolving artificial intelligence and quantum computing markets that were reshaping technology development worldwide. The morning routine that began each day at 5 a.m. included comprehensive analysis of Asian technology markets that provided early indicators of global trends, consultation with research teams at Stanford, MIT and Caltech about breakthrough developments in machine learning and quantum physics, and strategic planning sessions with patent attorneys and technology transfer specialists, who ensured that Chen Digital Industries maintained intellectual property advantages while supporting innovation development throughout the technology ecosystem. The afternoon schedule typically included virtual meetings with venture capital partners about investment opportunities, collaboration planning with government research agencies about national security applications, and coordination with international technology companies about joint development projects that required sophisticated cross-border legal and financial structure. For over 5 decades, I had been far more than just Eleanor Chen, the devoted wife and mother that my family acknowledged during birthday celebrations and holiday gatherings. I was Eleanor Chen, whose pioneering research in neural network architecture during the 1970s had influenced the development of modern artificial intelligence systems throughout the technology industry, whose early investments in companies like Google, Facebook, Tesla, and hundreds of smaller technology startups had generated the capital that enabled Chen Digital's expansion into patent acquisition and startup incubation, and whose Chen Innovation Foundation had provided educational scholarships and research grants for over 400 students and researchers, whose technological innovations had contributed to advances in healthcare, environmental sustainability, educational technology, and space exploration throughout the global technology community and beyond. My career had begun in 1972 as a junior software developer at Fairchild Semiconductor, where I was one of only 3 women among 240 engineers working on early microprocessor development that would eventually influence the creation of personal computers, mobile devices, and internet infrastructure throughout the technology revolution that transformed global communication and commerce. The discrimination I faced as a Chinese American woman in technology during an era of limited opportunities and systematic exclusion from leadership roles had required exceptional performance and strategic networking to advance through positions at Xerox PARC, IBM Research, and eventually Stanford's Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, where my research in machine learning algorithms earned recognition from technology leaders who would later become founders and executives at major Silicon Valley companies. But the real expansion of my technology empire began in 1989, when I established Chen Digital Industries as a research and development company focused on artificial intelligence applications for healthcare, environmental monitoring, and educational technology. The company's mission emphasized responsible innovation that addressed global challenges while generating sustainable returns for continued research and development throughout emerging technology sectors that required patient capital and long-term strategic vision, rather than the short-term profit maximization that characterized much of Silicon Valley's venture capital and startup ecosystem during the dot-com boom and subsequent market cycle. The reality was that Michael's groundbreaking NeuralSync Technologies wasn't an independent startup that had succeeded through his entrepreneurial vision and technical expertise. It was actually a subsidiary of Chen Digital Industries, operating under a complex corporate structure that enabled Michael to function as CEO, while Chen Digital maintained controlling interest and strategic direction through a network of shell companies, investment partnerships, and licensing agreements that kept my ownership invisible to Michael, Jessica, and the venture capital firms that believed they were investing in an independent artificial intelligence company developing innovative healthcare analytics solutions. The $47 million in Series B funding that NeuralSync had raised hadn't come from impressed venture capitalists who recognized Michael's technological brilliance and market potential. It had been coordinated through Chen Digital's network of investment partners, with the lead investor being Pinnacle Ventures, a venture capital firm that I had co-founded in 1994 and continued to influence through strategic advisory roles and limited partner investments that enabled me to direct funding toward promising technology companies while maintaining anonymity, avoiding conflicts of interest throughout the competitive Silicon Valley investment landscape, where personal relationships and strategic positioning determined access to the most promising startup opportunity. The office space that NeuralSync occupied in a prestigious Palo Alto building was actually owned by Chen Digital Industries through a commercial real estate subsidiary with lease terms
that provided below-market rates and flexible expansion options that supported the company's growth, while generating steady rental income for my property investment portfolio. The sophisticated laboratory equipment, quantum computing and research partnerships that enabled NeuralSync's artificial intelligence development were all coordinated through Chen Digital's technology infrastructure and academic relationship, providing Michael's team with resources that would typically be available only to much larger technology companies or well-funded university research programs. But what made the family's comfortable assumptions about their independence and self-made success particularly devastating, comprehensive scope of invisible support and strategic coordination that I had been providing throughout every aspect of their adult lives, a sophisticated network of financial assistance, professional opportunity, and lifestyle facilitation that operated so seamlessly and discreetly that Michael and Jessica had never recognized the connection between their family's success and my technology investment authority, patent portfolio management, and venture capital coordination throughout the Silicon Valley ecosystem and international technology markets that determined their professional opportunities and financial security. The ungrateful family that was about to discover the consequences of disrespecting the elderly relative, invisible support had created every advantage they considered evidence of their own entrepreneurial success, had no idea that their comfortable assumptions about my dependence and irrelevance were built on the most dangerous foundation possible, the assumption that wealth and respect were separate considerations, and that family loyalty was optional rather than the fundamental requirement for continued access to the sophisticated financial infrastructure that made their Silicon Valley lifestyle possible in an environment where technological innovation and family character were essential for authentic long-term success and community respect. Throughout the Bay Area's notoriously competitive and interconnected professional network. But what made my family's comfortable assumptions about my limited circumstances and increasing dependency particularly heartbreaking was the systematic way they had constructed an entire narrative about my declining relevance and growing burden on their successful lives, a story that justified their impatience with my questions about technology, their frustration with my requests for help during medical appointments, and their casual dismissal of my opinions about business decisions and family planning that they considered beyond my understanding of modern Silicon Valley culture and contemporary entrepreneurial strategies. Michael had developed what he believed was a compassionate but realistic approach, managing his elderly mother's needs while protecting his family from the emotional and financial strain that often accompanied aging parents who struggled to accept their diminishing capabilities and increasing dependence on their adult children for support with daily activity, medical coordination, and financial management. His monthly visits to my Mountain View apartment followed a predictable pattern that reflected his efficient approach to family obligations, a brief check on my health and safe assistance with any technology issues I might be experiencing with my smartphone or tablet, and gentle guidance about household management decisions that he considered too complex or physically demanding for someone my age. "Mom, you really shouldn't be trying to manage your own investments anymore," Michael would say with the patient tone he used when explaining complex technical concepts to non-technical clients and investors who needed simplified explanations to understand artificial intelligence applications and market potential. "The financial markets are much more complicated now than when you and Dad were younger, and there are professionals who specialize in retirement planning for seniors who understand how to protect your savings while generating the steady income you need for healthcare and living expenses." The investment management suggestions that Michael offered reflected his belief that elderly individuals should prioritize capital preservation and simplicity over growth strategies that required active monitoring and sophisticated market analysis throughout changing economic conditions. He had recommended several times that I consider working with a financial advisor who specialized in senior clients, someone who could help me transition from what he assumed were outdated investment approaches to more conservative strategies appropriate for my age and risk tolerance, providing regular monitoring and adjustment services that would prevent me from making costly mistakes during market volatility or economic uncertainty. "The technology sector is especially volatile and unpredictable," Michael would explain during our conversations about my modest investment portfolio, which he assumed consisted primarily of savings accounts, government bonds, and perhaps a few blue-chip stocks that David and I had accumulated during his engineering career. You should really focus on investments that provide steady dividends and guaranteed returns, rather than trying to understand cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence company, or startup investments that require technical expertise and constant attention to market developments and regulatory changes.
The irony of receiving investment advice from someone whose entire career was funded by my technology portfolio and whose understanding of artificial intelligence markets was limited to the narrow focus of his own company's healthcare applications was not lost on me. But I maintained the patient, grateful demeanor that Michael expected from an elderly mother who appreciated his concern and expertise, while privately coordinating investment decisions that affected billions of dollars in technology development and thousands of jobs throughout the global innovation ecosystem. Jessica's approach to managing our family relationship reflected her sophisticated understanding of social dynamics and family psychology, combined with her genuine desire to maintain positive relationships while protecting her children from the stress and inconvenience that often accompanied caring for elderly relatives who might become increasingly demanding or emotionally difficult as they faced the challenges of aging, health decline, and social isolation throughout their final years. I think it's really important for Lucas and Emma to spend time with their grandmother and learn about family history and values. Jessica would tell her friends during their weekly coffee meetings at Phil's Coffee in Palo Alto, where the conversation often turned to topics like aging parents, family obligations, and the challenges of balancing career success with multi-generational family responsibility. But we also have to be realistic about setting boundaries and making sure that our family's needs and schedules are respected, especially when the kids have so many academic and extracurricular commitments that are important for their college preparation and personal development. The boundary setting that Jessica implemented included limiting visits to once monthly unless there were special occasions or emergencies, establishing clear time limits for family gatherings to prevent them from interfering with the children's homework schedules or family downtime, and gently redirecting conversations away from topics that might be confusing or inappropriate for Lucas and Emma, such as detailed discussions of health problems, financial concerns, or social issues that elderly relatives sometimes fixated on without considering their impact on younger family members who needed to focus on positive goals and age-appropriate activities. Eleanor is really sweet and she obviously loves the kid, but sometimes she can be a little overwhelming with her questions about their schoolwork and future plans. Jessica would confide to her close friends who faced similar challenges with aging in-laws or grandparents who struggled to understand contemporary parenting approaches and educational priorities. She grew up in a very different era when family relationships were more formal and hierarchical, and sometimes she doesn't understand that children today need more independence and self-directed learning opportunities rather than constant adult involvement and traditional authority structure. The generational differences that Jessica identified between my parenting philosophy and their approach to raising Lucas and Emma reflected what she considered significant advances in child psychology, educational research, and family dynamics that emphasized children's autonomy, creativity, and emotional intelligence over the obedience, respect for authority, and academic discipline that characterized traditional Asian American family cultures. Jessica had read extensively about conscious parenting, mindful communication, and culturally responsive child development. She believed that protecting Lucas and Emma from outdated family expectations and cultural pressures would enable them to develop healthier relationships with authority, stronger creative confidence, and more balanced approaches to academic achievement and personal fulfillment. We want the kids to have a relationship with their grandmother, but we also want them to understand that family love doesn't mean accepting behavior or attitudes that don't align with our family values around respect, kindness, and emotional intelligence. Jessica explained to Michael during their regular evening discussions about family management and parenting strategies while walking through their neighborhood after dinner, using the time to coordinate schedules and discuss any challenges or concerns that needed attention before the following day's activities and responsibilities. The behavior or attitudes that concerned Jessica included my tendency to ask detailed questions about Lucas and Emma's academic performance, my suggestions about additional study habits or extracurricular activities that might benefit their college preparation, and my occasional comments about the importance of family loyalty, respect for elderly relatives, and gratitude for the opportunities and advantages that their parents had provided throughout their comfortable childhood in one of America's most affluent and opportunity-rich communities. Sometimes Eleanor makes comments that seem a little judgmental about our parenting choices or lifestyle decisions. Jessica would tell Michael when discussing strategies for managing family visits and maintaining positive relationships while protecting their children from criticism or pressure that might affect their self-esteem or confidence in their parents' guidance and support. I think she means well, but she doesn't always understand that questioning our decisions in front of the kids can undermine their sense of security and trust in our family's values and priorities. The undermining that Jessica perceived often involved my gentle suggestions that Lucas and Emma might benefit from learning Mandarin Chinese to connect with their cultural heritage, my questions about whether their busy schedules allowed sufficient time for family conversations and relationship building, and my observations that their extensive involvement in organized activities might be preventing them from developing independent thinking skills and self-directed learning capabilities that would serve them well during college and throughout their adult lives, when external structure and adult guidance would be less available. But perhaps the most significant aspect of my family's perception management was their systematic interpretation of my questions, suggestions, and observations as evidence of cognitive decline, social isolation, and emotional neediness that required patient tolerance rather than serious consideration or respectful engagement throughout our family interactions and relationship development. I think Mom is starting to get a little confused about boundaries and appropriate topics for family conversations. Michael would tell Jessica after visits, where I had asked questions about NeuralSync's business development, suggested strategies for improving their children's educational experiences, or expressed concerns about their family's financial planning and lifestyle sustainability throughout changing economic conditions and technology market fluctuation. The confusion that Michael attributed to aging and isolation actually reflected my comprehensive understanding of their business operations, educational opportunities, and financial circumstances through my oversight of the very systems that supported their lifestyle and professional success. When I asked about NeuralSync's customer acquisition strategies, I was assessing the effectiveness of the marketing coordination and client referral systems that Chen Digital had implemented to support the company's growth. When I suggested educational opportunities for Lucas and Emma, I was drawing on my extensive knowledge of academic programs, research opportunities, and scholarship possibilities that the Chen Innovation Foundation could provide to enhance their learning experiences and college preparation. She keeps asking these really detailed questions about the business that seem kind of random and inappropriate, Michael explained to Jessica after a family dinner, where I had inquired about NeuralSync's patent portfolio, international partnership opportunity, and regulatory compliance strategies for healthcare data management. It's like she's trying to understand things that are way too complex for someone who doesn't have a background in technology or business management, and it makes me worry that she might be developing some kind of fixation or obsession that could be a sign of cognitive changes. The complexity that Michael assumed was beyond my comprehension actually represented areas where I had decades of expertise and current operational responsibility through Chen Digital's coordination of exactly the business functions and strategic decisions that he considered proprietary and confidential. The patent portfolio questions reflected my oversight of the intellectual property licensing agreements that enabled NeuralSync to access cutting-edge research and development resources. The international partnership inquiries related to my coordination with technology companies in South Korea, Taiwan, and Israel that provided manufacturing capabilities and market access for NeuralSync's products and services. I think we need to be more careful about what information we share during family visits. Jessica suggested after a birthday celebration where I had asked about Lucas's robotics projects, and offered to connect him with researchers at Stanford who were working on similar environmental monitoring applications. Eleanor seems to be getting more intrusive and demanding about being involved in decisions that really aren't appropriate for her age and situation, and worried that encouraging these conversations might make her more frustrated or disappointed when she realizes that she can't really contribute meaningfully to our family's planning and decision-making. The contribution that Jessica considered inappropriate and unrealistic actually represented my ability to provide resources and strategic guidance that could significantly enhance Lucas's educational experience and future college applications through connections with world-class researchers, access to advanced laboratory facilities, and participation in cutting-edge research projects that were typically available only to graduate students and professional scientists. The Chen Innovation Foundation maintained partnerships with a major research university on the West Coast, providing funding for student internships, research collaborations, and educational programs that could accelerate Lucas's development as a scientist and innovator, while building relationships with mentors who could guide his career development throughout college and beyond. The monthly visits that my family made to my apartment followed a carefully orchestrated routine that minimized disruption to their schedules while fulfilling their sense of obligation and maintaining appearances of family unity and respect for elderly relatives throughout their social and professional community. The visits typically lasted between 90 minutes and 2 hours, beginning with polite inquiries about my health and daily activities, followed by assistance with any technology issues or household tasks that I might need help completing, and concluding with a family meal that I prepared according to traditional recipes that Lucas and Emma enjoyed, while providing opportunities for conversation about their school activities and social experiences. "We really appreciate everything you do for us," Michael would say during the closing minutes of each visit, using the tone of gratitude and affection that he had learned to employ when managing client relationships and investor communications throughout his business development and fundraising activity. "It means so much to Jessica and the kids to have these family traditions and to know that you're doing well and staying active in your community. We want you to know that if you ever need anything or have concerns about your health or living situation, you can always call us, and we'll do whatever we can to help and support you." The support that Michael offered reflected his understanding of appropriate adult children's responsibilities for elderly parents, while maintaining boundaries that protected his family's resources and emotional energy from excessive demands or unrealistic expectations that might develop as I faced the inevitable challenges of aging, health decline, and increasing dependency throughout my remaining years. The support included assistance with medical appointments when transportation was needed, help with technology troubleshooting when smartphone or computer issues exceeded my capability, and emergency assistance if health crises or household problems required immediate attention and coordination with professional service providers. But we also want to make sure that you understand our family's situation and the demands on our time and energy," Jessica would add with gentle firmness that reflected her experience managing expectations and maintaining boundaries with clients, vendors, and community volunteers whose enthusiasm sometimes exceeded what was practical or sustainable for busy families with multiple competing priorities and obligations. Michael's business requires a lot of travel and client entertainment, and the kids have really intensive academic schedules and extracurricular commitments that are important for their college preparation and personal development. The intensive schedules that Jessica referenced included Lucas's participation in competitive robotics teams that required weekend tournaments and summer camps, private tutoring sessions that supplemented his advanced mathematics and science course, and volunteer activities that would demonstrate community engagement and leadership potential to college admissions committee. Emma's commitments included coding classes, environmental club leadership responsibilities, and music lessons that developed her creative abilities, while providing additional opportunities for college application distinction and personal fulfillment throughout her academic and social development. Sometimes I think Eleanor doesn't fully understand how different family life is now compared to when she was raising children. Jessica would tell her friends during discussions about multi-generational family relationships and the challenges of managing aging parents while maintaining contemporary family priorities and lifestyle choices. The academic competition is so much more intense now, and children need so much more support and coordination to succeed in college preparation and extracurricular activities, that there really isn't as much time for traditional family obligations and social expectations that might have been important in previous generations. The social expectations that Jessica considered outdated included regular family dinners, where multiple generations gathered for extended conversations about family history, cultural traditions, and moral guidance that elderly relatives traditionally provided to younger family members. The contemporary family model that Jessica preferred emphasized efficiency, individual achievement, and professional development that prepared children for success in competitive academic and career environments, while maintaining positive relationships with extended family members through structured, time-limited interactions that respected everyone's schedules and priorities. We love Eleanor and we want her to be part of our family's life, but we also need to be realistic about what level of involvement is healthy and sustainable for everyone involved. Jessica explained to Michael during their strategic planning conversations about family management and relationship maintenance throughout their ongoing residence in Silicon Valley's demanding social and professional environment. The kids need to focus on their own goals and development, and we need to make sure that family obligations don't become sources of stress or distraction that could affect their academic performance or emotional well-being. The emotional well-being that Jessica prioritized included protecting Lucas and Emma from guilt, pressure, or confusion that might result from conflicting expectations or cultural values that could create internal stress or family tension throughout their identity development and college preparation process. Jessica had consulted with family therapists and educational psychologists who emphasized the importance of clear, consistent family values and communication patterns that enabled children to develop strong self-confidence and decision-making capabilities without being overwhelmed by competing loyalties or cultural expectations that might interfere with their individual growth and achievement. I think it's especially important to protect them from any financial pressure or guilt about family obligations, Jessica continued, reflecting her understanding of how financial stress and family dysfunction could affect children's academic performance and emotional development throughout their formative years, when stability and security were essential for healthy psychological growth and educational achievement. Eleanor sometimes makes comments about family responsibility and gratitude that seem designed to make the kids feel guilty or obligated in ways that aren't appropriate for their age and developmental stage. The guilt and obligation that Jessica wanted to prevent actually represented traditional values of family loyalty, intergenerational respect, and gratitude for opportunities and advantages that had been provided by previous generations, sacrifices, and hard work throughout their immigration experience and family establishment in American society. The comments that Jessica interpreted as inappropriate pressure were my attempts to help Lucas and Emma understand the importance of appreciating their advantages while developing character traits like humility, generosity, and social responsibility that would serve them well throughout their adult lives, when their success and happiness would depend not only on individual achievement, but also on their ability to build meaningful relationships and contribute positively to their community. But perhaps the most telling aspect of my family's perception management was their complete inability to recognize the contradictions between their assumptions about my limited capabilities and the evidence of sophisticated thinking, strategic planning, and comprehensive knowledge that I demonstrated during our conversations about technology, business development, and educational opportunities throughout their visits and family interaction. Sometimes Mom says things that make me wonder if she's been reading too much online or watching too many news programs about technology and business. Michael would tell Jessica after visits where I had made observations about artificial intelligence market trends, regulatory development, or research breakthroughs that seemed surprisingly informed and sophisticated for someone they assumed
had limited understanding of contemporary technology and business environment.
The information that Michael attributed to excessive media consumption actually reflected my daily coordination with research teams, market analysts, and policy experts throughout the global technology community, who provided real-time intelligence about developments that would affect investment strategies, partnership opportunities, and regulatory compliance throughout Chen Digital's operations and the broader technology ecosystem. The observations that seemed surprisingly sophisticated represented insights gained through 50 years of direct involvement in technology development and strategic planning at the highest levels of Silicon Valley's innovation and business development community. I worry that she might be getting confused by all the conflicting information and speculation that's available online about technology companies and investment opportunities, Jessica, reflecting her concern that elderly individuals might be vulnerable to misinformation or financial scams that targeted seniors who lacked sophisticated understanding of technology markets and investment strategy. Maybe we should suggest that she limit her news consumption and focus on more positive, age-appropriate activities that don't create anxiety or confusion about things that are beyond her control or understanding. The anxiety and confusion that Jessica wanted to prevent actually represented my genuine concern about technology developments and market conditions that could affect not only my family's financial security, but also the broader community of employees, researchers, and entrepreneurs whose livelihoods depended on the strategic decisions and investment coordination that I managed through Chen Digital Industries and the Chen Innovation Foundation throughout the rapidly evolving technology landscape that determined opportunities and challenges for millions of people worldwide. Ungrateful family that was about to learn the devastating consequences of their systematic dismissal and condescending treatment of the elderly relative who had invisibly supported every aspect of their comfortable lifestyle, had constructed such a comprehensive narrative of my declining relevance and increasing dependency that they were completely unprepared for the revelation that their assumptions about my limitations were not only wrong, but represented exactly the kind of disrespect and ingratitude that would justify the most comprehensive estate restructuring and family accountability process in Silicon Valley history. What my family could never have imagined during all those years of treating me like a sweet, but technologically confused grandmother who needed patient guidance, with smartphone apps and gentle protection from complicated financial decisions, was that the comfortable assumptions about my modest retirement circumstances concealed the most sophisticated technology investment operation on the West Coast, an empire so seamlessly integrated into Silicon Valley's innovation ecosystem that its very invisibility had become both its greatest strategic advantage and my family's most dangerous vulnerability when it came to their assumptions about independence, self-made success, and inheritance entitlement throughout their ongoing lifestyle and professional development. The modest two-bedroom apartment at Serenity Gardens, Senior Living, where I had maintained my primary residence for 6 years, represented far more than simple downsized accommodation for an elderly widow living on Social Security and modest retirement savings from her late husband's engineering career. Unit 24-7B, with its unassuming beige carpeting, standard senior-friendly fixtures, and basic kitchen appliances that appeared typical for affordable elderly housing, actually served as the central command center for Chen Digital Industries, a $280 million technology investment empire that operated through the most sophisticated network of quantum computing systems, artificial intelligence coordination platform, and global communication infrastructure that any single private investor had ever assembled for real-time technology market management and innovation development coordination throughout the international technology ecosystem. The living room, where my family gathered monthly for our dutiful visit, decorated with comfortable furniture from West Elm, and family photographs that displayed Lucas and Emma's school achievements, alongside cherished memories of my late husband David, contained enterprise-grade technology systems that would have impressed executives at Google, Apple, or Microsoft if they had understood the true scope and sophistication of the operations concealed within what appeared to be traditional senior living furniture designed for elderly residents.
who preferred classic aesthetics over contemporary minimalism. The innocent-looking walnut entertainment center that dominated one wall housed quantum computing servers worth over each unit, containing processing power that exceeded what most Fortune 500 companies utilized for their most complex data analysis and strategic planning operations throughout their global business coordination and market development activities. Behind the custom cabinet doors that appeared to contain typical senior entertainment equipment, like a basic television, simple sound system, and perhaps a DVD collection of classic movies and family recording, sophisticated holographic display systems could project three-dimensional market analysis, patent portfolio management interfaces, and real-time communication platforms that enabled instantaneous coordination with technology development teams, venture capital partner and research institutions across 17 countries and 6 continents throughout the 24-hour global innovation cycle that never paused for traditional business hours or geographical boundaries. The fiber optic communication networks that connected my apartment to technology markets throughout Asia, Europe, and North America provided bandwidth capabilities that exceeded what most universities allocated for their advanced research operations and international collaboration programs. The connections enabled real-time coordination with quantum computing laboratories in South Korea, artificial intelligence research facilities in Taiwan, environmental monitoring systems in Israel, and space technology development programs in collaboration with NASA and emerging private space exploration companies that were revolutionizing humanity's approach to scientific research and commercial development beyond Earth's atmosphere. The kitchen where I served my family homemade dumplings and jasmine tea during their monthly visits featured appliances and design elements that appeared modest and appropriate for senior housing, reflecting what they assumed was my practical approach to retirement living within a limited budget that prioritized function over luxury or technological sophistication. The basic refrigerator, standard electric range, and simple dishwasher suggested someone who had downsized from family home appliances to more manageable equipment, suitable for elderly individuals who cooked smaller portions and preferred uncomplicated household maintenance routines that didn't require technical expertise or physical strength that might diminish with age. But the adjacent office space, which my family assumed was simply a spare bedroom with a desk for paying bills, organizing family photographs, and managing basic correspondence with doctors, insurance company, and financial advisors, contained institutional-grade technology coordination systems worth over $240,000 that would have been impressive in the headquarters of major technology corporations or advanced research universities. The space featured specialized climate control systems that maintained optimal temperature and humidity for sensitive quantum computing equipment, backup power systems that ensured continuous operation during electrical outages or grid fluctuation, shielding that protected against interference from external electronic devices, while maintaining security protocols that prevented unauthorized access to confidential technology development information and strategic business communication. The multiple workstations arranged throughout the office provided specialized access to different aspects of Chen Digital Industries operations, with each station configured for specific functions that required dedicated hardware, software, and communication protocols designed for maximum efficiency and security throughout the complex coordination activities that managed technology investments, research partnerships, and innovation development programs across multiple time zones and regulatory environments. The primary workstation featured quantum encrypted communication systems that maintained secure connections with venture capital firms throughout Silicon Valley, enabling real-time coordination of investment decisions, due diligence process, and strategic planning activities that affected hundreds of millions of dollars in technology development funding and thousands of jobs throughout the regional innovation ecosystem. The patent management workstation provided comprehensive access to intellectual property databases that tracked Chen Digital's portfolio of over 340 technology patents across 17 different sectors, including artificial intelligence, quantum computing, renewable energy, biotechnology, space exploration, autonomous vehicles, blockchain applications, environmental monitoring, educational technology, healthcare analytics, cybersecurity, advanced materials, robotics, virtual reality, augmented reality, nanotechnology, and sustainable agriculture. The patent portfolio represented the cumulative result of 50 years of strategic investment in research and development, with licensing agreements that generated over $47 million annually in revenue, while supporting continued innovation development throughout the global technology community that depended on access to foundational intellectual property for their product development and market expansion activity.
The Research Coordination Workstation enabled real-time collaboration with technology development teams at Stanford University, MIT, Caltech, Carnegie Mellon, UC Berkeley, and 12 international research institutions that received funding through the Chen Innovation Foundation's research grants and collaborative partnership programs. The workstation provided access to secure research databases, experimental data sharing platform, and virtual laboratory coordination systems that enabled scientists and engineers working on different aspects of complex technology development projects to share information, coordinate experiment, and collaborate on breakthrough discoveries that required multidisciplinary expertise and international cooperation throughout their research and development process. The Financial Management Workstation monitored real-time performance data from every technology investment in Chen Digital's portfolio, tracking revenue generation, expense management, market positioning, competitive analysis, and growth projections for over 180 technology companies that received funding, strategic guidance, and business development support through various investment vehicles and partnership arrangements. The financial tracking systems provided comprehensive analysis of cash flow pattern, profitability trends, market share development, and strategic positioning that informed investment decisions about continued funding, expansion opportunities, partnership development, and potential acquisition or divestiture strategies that optimized portfolio performance while supporting innovation development throughout the technology ecosystem. The Strategic Planning Workstation provided access to market intelligence platforms that analyze technology trends, regulatory developments, competitive positioning, and economic factors that influenced investment opportunities and strategic decision-making throughout the rapidly evolving global technology landscape. The intelligence systems monitored patent applications from competitor organizations, tracked regulatory changes in international markets, analyzed academic research publications that indicated emerging technology trends, and coordinated with government agencies and policy organizations that influence technology development through funding priorities, regulatory framework, and international trade agreements that affected global technology cooperation and commercial development opportunities. But perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of the technology infrastructure, concealed within my modest senior living apartment, was the artificial intelligence system that I had developed over 15 years of continuous refinement and enhancement, an AI platform called ARIA, Advanced Research and Investment Analytics, that provided predictive analysis, strategic recommendations, and automated coordination capabilities that enabled Chen Digital Industries to maintain competitive advantages while supporting responsible innovation development throughout the global technology community that depended on ethical leadership and sustainable development practices for long-term success and social benefit. ARIA's machine learning algorithms analyzed patterns across millions of data points, including patent applications, research publications, venture capital investment, trends, regulatory developments, market performance indicators, social media sentiment analysis, academic conference presentation, government funding priorities, international trade data, and demographic trends that influence technology adoption and market development throughout different regions and economic sectors. The predictive analysis capabilities enabled Chen Digital to identify promising investment opportunities months or years before they became widely recognized throughout the venture capital community, providing competitive advantages that generated superior returns while supporting deserving entrepreneurs and researchers who might otherwise struggle to access the funding and strategic guidance necessary for successful technology development and commercialization. The automated coordination capabilities that ARIA provided included real-time monitoring of portfolio companies' performance metrics, automatic generation of progress reports and strategic recommendations, predictive maintenance, scheduling for technology infrastructure, and intelligent allocation of research funding based on project progress, market potential, and alignment with Chen Digital's strategic priorities throughout the innovation development process. The AI system also managed complex scheduling coordination for international collaboration activities, automatically adjusting for time zone differences, cultural considerations, and regulatory requirements that affected research partnerships and business development activities across multiple countries and economic systems. The daily coordination activities that I managed from my home office through ARIA's intelligent interface systems included reviewing overnight reports from technology development teams across 12 countries, analyzing patent applications and research publications that influenced investment decisions, affecting millions of dollars in technology assets, coordinating with university researchers and government laboratories about breakthrough developments that required strategic response or partnership opportunity, and maintaining relationships with international technology leaders who influenced global innovation priorities and collaborative development initiatives throughout the rapidly evolving technology landscape that shaped economic opportunities and social development worldwide. The morning routine that began each day at 5 a.m. with comprehensive analysis of Asian technology markets provided early indicators of global trends that influenced investment strategies and partnership development throughout Chen Digital's international operations. The Asian market, including technology centers in Seoul, Taipei, Tokyo, Singapore, and Bangalore, often provided the first signals of technological breakthroughs, regulatory change, or market shifts that would affect global technology development and investment opportunities throughout the following trading sessions in European and American markets. The collaboration with research teams at leading universities provided access to cutting-edge discoveries and experiment developments that informed Chen Digital's patent acquisition strategies and technology licensing opportunities, months or years before commercial applications became available to competitor organizations. The university partnership, supported by Chen Innovation Foundation grants totaling over $12 million, enabled graduate students and postdoctoral researchers to pursue ambitious projects that required patient funding and strategic guidance, while building relationships with future technology leaders who would influence innovation development throughout their academic and professional career. The afternoon coordination activities typically included virtual meetings with venture capital partners about investment opportunities that required due diligence analysis and strategic plan, collaboration sessions with government research agencies about national security applications and regulatory compliance requirement, and partnership development conversations with international technology companies about joint research projects and commercialization strategies that required sophisticated cross-border legal and financial structuring to navigate different regulatory environments and cultural business practice. The government coordination activities reflected Chen Digital's participation in technology development programs that addressed national security priorities, environmental challenges, and social innovation goals that aligned with broader public policy objectives, while generating commercial opportunities and strategic advantages for American technology companies competing in global markets. The partnerships with agencies including NASA, the Department of Energy, the National Science Foundation, and the Department of Defense provided access to research funding, testing facilities, strategic guidance that enabled technology development projects that might not be commercially viable through traditional venture capital funding but addressed important societal challenges and long-term strategic priorities. The international collaboration activities required sophisticated cultural competency and strategic relationship management that reflected my decades of experience building trust and partnerships with technology leaders throughout Asia, Europe, and emerging markets that provided different advantages and capabilities for various aspects of technology development and commercialization. The relationships with technology companies in South Korea provided access to advanced manufacturing capabilities and supply chain coordination that enabled rapid prototyping and production scaling for hardware-intensive technology products. The partnerships with Israeli companies provided expertise in cybersecurity, defense applications, and agricultural technologies that addressed global food security and resource management challenges. The research partnerships with European institutions provided access to regulatory expertise and market development strategies that enabled Chen Digital portfolio companies to navigate complex international compliance requirements and establish commercial operations in markets that required different business models and cultural approaches for successful technology adoption and customer development. The European partnerships also provided access to sustainability frameworks and environmental technology development that aligned with global climate change mitigation goals and social responsibility priorities that distinguished ethical technology leadership from purely profit-driven development approaches. But what made Chen Digital Industries operations particularly sophisticated was not just the technology infrastructure and international partnerships that enabled comprehensive innovation coordination. It was the strategic integration of all these capabilities. Aria's artificial intelligence platform that provided unprecedented insight into technology development patterns, market opportunities, and strategic timing that enabled optimal decision-making throughout the complex, rapidly changing global technology landscape that determined success and failure for thousands of companies and millions of workers throughout the innovation economy. Aria's predictive capabilities had identified emerging trends in artificial intelligence applications for healthcare analytics 18 months before mainstream venture capital firms recognized the market potential, enabling Chen Digital to establish strategic positions in companies that later became industry leaders with valuations exceeding $1 billion. The early identification of quantum computing commercialization opportunities had enabled patent acquisitions and research partnerships that provided competitive advantages worth over $80 million in licensing revenue and strategic positioning throughout the emerging quantum technology ecosystem. The environmental monitoring technology trends that Aria had predicted 3 years in advance enabled Chen Digital to support research and development programs that addressed climate change mitigation and resource management challenges while generating commercial opportunities through partnership with government agencies, international development organizations, and private companies that required sophisticated environmental data analysis and predictive modeling capabilities for their operations and strategic plan. The space technology development trends that Aria had analyzed provided insights into commercial opportunities that emerged from NASA's partnerships with private space exploration companies, enabling Chen Digital to invest in satellite technologies, space manufacture, and resource extraction ventures that would benefit from the expanding commercial space economy, while contributing to scientific research and exploration goals that advanced human knowledge and capability throughout the solar system. The healthcare technology applications that Aria had identified through analysis of demographic trends, regulatory developments, and scientific research publications enabled Chen Digital to support medical device development, pharmaceutical research, and healthcare analytics companies that addressed aging population needs, chronic disease management, and preventive healthcare strategies that reduced costs while improving patient outcomes throughout different healthcare systems and economic environments worldwide. The educational technology trends that Aria had predicted enabled Chen Digital to support development of learning platforms, assessment systems, and educational content delivery methods that addressed changing student needs, teacher capability, and institutional resources throughout different educational systems and cultural contexts. The educational technology investments supported both commercial product development and philanthropic initiatives through the Chen Innovation Foundation that provided access to advanced learning opportunities for students who might otherwise lack resources for educational advancement and career development. The cybersecurity trend analysis that Aria provided enabled Chen Digital to support development of protection systems, threat detection platform, and privacy-preserving technologies that addressed evolving security challenges while enabling continued innovation and digital commerce throughout increasingly connected global economic and social systems. The cybersecurity investments supported both defensive capabilities that protected existing technology infrastructure and offensive research
that identified vulnerabilities and developed countermeasures for emerging threat patterns.
What my family never understood during all those years of dismissing my questions about their business operations and politely tolerating my suggestions about strategic planning and technology development was that every observation I made, every question I asked, and every recommendation I reflected comprehensive knowledge and direct operational experience with exactly the business functions and market conditions that determined their success and failure throughout the competitive Silicon Valley technology ecosystem that shaped their professional opportunities and lifestyle possibilities. When I asked Michael about NeuralSync's patent portfolio and intellectual property strategy, I was assessing the effectiveness of the licensing agreements and research partnerships that Chen Digital had coordinated to provide his company with access to foundational artificial intelligence algorithms and healthcare data analysis techniques that enabled their product development while maintaining competitive advantages through strategic patent positioning and technology licensing revenue. When I inquired about their customer acquisition strategies and market development plans, I was evaluating the performance of business development coordination and client referral systems that Chen Digital had implemented through its network of healthcare industry partner venture capital relationships and strategic advisory services that supported NeuralSync's growth while ensuring alignment with broader technology development goals and market positioning strategy. When I suggested educational opportunities and research collaborations for Lucas's robotics interests, I was drawing on my comprehensive knowledge of academic programs, laboratory facilities, and mentorship possibilities that the Chen Innovation Foundation could provide through its partnership with research universities and technology companies that offered internship programs and educational opportunities for exceptional students who demonstrated technical capability and character development throughout their academic and personal growth. When I expressed concerns about their family's financial planning and lifestyle sustainability, I was reflecting my understanding of technology market volatility, economic uncertainty, and the importance of maintaining conservative spending patterns and diversified investment strategies that protect their financial security during market downturns or business challenges that could affect their income stability and family resources throughout changing economic conditions and competitive pressures. The ungrateful family that was about to discover the shocking truth about my identity or complete dependence on my invisible support had spent years systematically dismissing and condescending to the very person whose sophisticated technology empire and strategic coordination had created every advantage they considered evidence of their own entrepreneurial brilliance and superior business acumen throughout their comfortable, successful lifestyle in Silicon Valley's most competitive and expensive professional and social environment. Michael and Jessica Chen had constructed their lives around a carefully curated narrative of entrepreneurial success and earned prosperity that positioned them as exemplars of Silicon Valley achievement, a story that attributed their luxurious lifestyle, professional recognition, social status to Michael's technological brilliance, Jessica's sophisticated family management, and their collective understanding of how to navigate the competitive landscape of Bay Area innovation and wealth accumulation. Their beautiful contemporary home in Palo Alto's prestigious Crescent Park neighborhood, with its award-winning architecture and professionally designed Zen garden, served as both sanctuary and symbol of their ascension into Silicon Valley's technology elite, a status they believed reflected their superior education, strategic thinking, and entrepreneurial vision, rather than the invisible financial infrastructure that had been supporting their success for over 2 decades. The morning routine in the Chen household reflected the kind of orchestrated efficiency and mindful productivity that distinguished families who understood the importance of optimizing every aspect of their daily lives for maximum performance, wellness, and strategic advantage throughout their demanding professional and social obligations. Jessica would rise at 5:30 a.m. to begin her carefully choreographed day with 45 minutes of hot yoga in their custom-designed home studio, complete with radiant floor heating, professional-grade mirror, and a state-of-the-art air purification system that maintained optimal temperature and humidity for her practice, while providing the mental clarity and physical preparation
she needed for managing their family's complex schedule and extensive community commitments. The yoga studio, which had cost $47,000 to design and install during their home's renovation 3 years earlier, featured sustainable bamboo flooring, walls of reclaimed cedar that provided natural aromatherapy benefit, and floor-to-ceiling windows that offered views of their professionally landscaped meditation garden, with its carefully selected native plants, water features, and stone pathways designed according to feng shui principles that promoted harmony, prosperity, and emotional balance throughout their family's daily living experience. The space also included a dedicated storage area for Jessica's collection of premium yoga equipment, including hand-woven organic cotton mats from India, meditation cushions filled with organic buckwheat hulls, and therapeutic props crafted by artisan manufacturers who specialized in sustainable wellness products for discerning practitioners. Jessica's morning routine continued with an elaborate skincare regimen using luxury products from brands like La Prairie and Tatcha that cost more than most families spent on their monthly grocery budgets, followed by careful application of mineral makeup and selection of her daily outfit from a wardrobe that represented over $80,000 in investment in sustainable fashion, athleisure wear, and professional attire that reflected both her environmental values and her understanding of how appearance influenced credibility and social positioning throughout Silicon Valley's image-conscious professional and social community. The breakfast preparation that followed reflected Jessica's commitment to organic nutrition and family wellness through locally sourced ingredients, artisanal preparation methods, and presentation standards that could have impressed food stylists at high-end lifestyle magazines. The kitchen, which had been renovated at a cost of $27,000 to include custom cabinetry crafted from sustainably harvested walnut, countertops made from recycled glass and concrete, and professional-grade appliances that enabled restaurant-quality meal preparation while maintaining energy efficiency and environmental responsibility, provided the perfect environment for creating the nutritious Instagram-worthy meals that fueled their family's high-performance lifestyle while demonstrating their commitment to health, sustainability, and aesthetic excellence. Michael's morning began at 6 a.m., with an intensive workout in their fully equipped home gym, a 400-square-foot space that featured professional-grade equipment worth over $35,000, including a Peloton bike, rowing machine, adjustable dumbbells, suspension training system, and a wall-mounted television that allowed him to participate in virtual fitness classes while catching up on technology news and market analysis that informed his business strategy and investment decisions throughout the rapidly changing artificial intelligence and healthcare technology sectors that determined Neuralsync's competitive positioning and growth opportunity. The home gym's design emphasized both functionality and aesthetics, with rubber flooring that provided optimal impact absorption, mirrors that created an illusion of expanded space, and a sophisticated sound system that delivered high-quality audio for workout motivation and business podcast consumption during cardio sessions. The space also included a dedicated area for stretching and recovery, complete with a foam rolling station, massage therapy tool, and a red light therapy panel that promoted muscle recovery and overall wellness through cutting-edge biohacking technologies that reflected Michael's commitment to optimizing his physical and mental performance for maximum entrepreneurial effectiveness and longevity. Michael's post-workout routine included a meticulous grooming process using premium skincare products from brands like Kiehl's and Tom Ford, followed by careful selection of his daily uniform from a wardrobe of custom-tailored casual business attire that projected the perfect balance of professional competence and Silicon Valley authenticity. His clothing collection included over 30 pairs of premium jeans, ranging from $400 to $800 each, and a rotation of limited edition sneakers and Italian leather shoes that demonstrated his appreciation for craftsmanship and design while maintaining the relaxed aesthetic that distinguished successful tech entrepreneurs from traditional corporate executives. The breakfast conversation in the Chen kitchen typically centered around strategic coordination of their family's numerous professional and social obligations, with Jessica managing the complex logistics of Michael's client meetings and industry events. The children's academic and extracurricular schedules, and their own social calendar, that included charity fundraisers, Stanford alumni events, school board meetings, dinner parties with other power couples who shared their socioeconomic status and community leadership aspirations throughout Palo Alto's elite social and professional networks. The kitchen itself, with its custom lighting design that provided optimal illumination for both meal preparation and social media photography, featured an oversized island that served as both workspace and informal dining area, professional-grade appliances that included a $8,000 zero-ziran refrigerator with smart technology that monitored food inventory and suggested meal planning based on nutritional goals and dietary preferences. The space also included a dedicated area for displaying Jessica's collection of handcrafted ceramics and artisanal serving pieces that reflected her appreciation for traditional craftsmanship and aesthetic beauty, while providing the perfect backdrop for the food photography that supported her lifestyle blog and social media presence. Jessica's daily schedule, after the family departed for work and school, reflected the kind of structured productivity and strategic thinking that characterized successful Silicon Valley spouses who had transformed household management and community involvement into sophisticated expressions of personal brand development and social impact coordination. Her activities included morning meetings with their household staff, including a housekeeper who maintained their home's pristine condition 3 days per week, a gardener who managed their drought-resistant landscaping and organic vegetable garden, and a personal assistant who coordinated their family's appointments, travel arrangements, and social obligations, followed by strategic planning sessions for her various volunteer leadership roles and community engagement initiatives. The household staff coordination reflected Jessica's understanding that managing a high-performance family required professional-level support systems and clear communication protocols that ensured all aspects of their domestic life operated efficiently, while maintaining the quality standards and aesthetic presentation that reflected their family's success and values. The weekly staff meetings included detailed discussion of upcoming events, special requirements for entertaining or travel, and ongoing maintenance projects that preserved their home's value and functionality, while supporting their family's busy schedule and social obligations. Throughout Silicon Valley's demanding professional and social environment, the volunteer work that formed the foundation of Jessica's community involvement and personal brand development included her leadership role as development committee chair for the Peninsula Schools Parent Association, where she coordinated fundraising campaigns that had generated over $0 during the previous 2 years for technology upgrades, sustainability initiatives, and scholarship programs that enhanced educational opportunities, while strengthening relationships with other influential families whose children attended the school. Her fundraising success reflected both her organizational capabilities and her strategic understanding of donor psychology, event plan, and community engagement that distinguished successful philanthropic leaders from well-meaning volunteers who lacked the skills and connections necessary for major gift cultivation and campaign management. The fundraising galas and community events that Jessica organized represented sophisticated social and cultural experiences that combined charitable purpose with networking opportunities for Silicon Valley's technology, featuring venues like the Computer History Museum and the Stanford Faculty Club, keynote speakers who commanded 5-figure appearance fees, and auction items donated by luxury retailers, exclusive restaurants, and premium service providers, whose participation reflected the event's prestige and attendee demographic. Jessica's expertise in coordinating these high-profile events had earned recognition from San Francisco Bay Area social publications and invitations to serve on additional nonprofit boards throughout the region, expanding her influence and social network, while demonstrating her family's commitment to community leadership and social responsibility. The social media presence that Jessica maintained through her lifestyle blog and Instagram account required significant time investment and strategic planning. that reflected her understanding of personal brand development and influence marketing throughout Silicon Valley's image-conscious professional community. Her content creation process included professional photography sessions for family lifestyle content, collaboration with sustainable fashion and wellness brands for sponsored partnerships, and careful curation of educational and inspirational posts that positioned her as a thought leader in conscious parenting, environmental responsibility, and mindful family management, while building an audience of engaged followers who aspired to similar lifestyle achievements and family values.
The sponsored partnerships that Jessica had developed with premium brands like Patagonia, Whole Foods, Tesla, and educational technology companies provided both additional income and professional satisfaction through collaborations that aligned with her family's values while generating revenue that typically ranged from $30 per campaign, depending on the brand partnership scope and content requirements. The additional income, while not necessary for their family's financial security, provided Jessica with a sense of professional accomplishment and financial contribution that complemented Michael's business success while building her personal brand and industry credibility within the sustainable lifestyle and conscious parenting communities. Michael's professional life, Neural Sync Technologies reflected the kind of visionary leadership and strategic thinking that he believed distinguished successful technology entrepreneurs from traditional business managers and corporate executives who lacked the innovation mindset and risk tolerance necessary for building breakthrough companies that transformed entire industries while generating exceptional returns for investors and stakeholders. His daily schedule typically included strategic planning meetings with his executive team, client presentations for potential healthcare industry partnership, investor relations activities that maintained relationships with venture capital firms and strategic partners, and technology development coordination with his engineering team, who worked on artificial intelligence algorithms and predictive analytics systems. The Neural Sync office environment, located in a prestigious Palo Alto building with panoramic views of Stanford University and the San Francisco Bay, reflected the kind of innovative company culture and aesthetic sophistication that attracted top talent from leading technology companies and research institutions, while impressed clients and investors who expected cutting-edge facilities and professional presentation from companies seeking to establish leadership positions in competitive technology markets. The office featured open collaboration spaces with premium furniture and technology infrastructure, private conference rooms equipped with advanced presentation systems and video conferencing capabilities, and recreational areas that included a game room, meditation space, and gourmet kitchen that demonstrated the company's commitment to employee wellness and work-life balance. The company culture that Michael had cultivated at NeuralSync emphasized innovation, collaboration, and social impact through technology development that addressed healthcare challenges while building sustainable business models and competitive advantages in artificial intelligence applications for medical diagnostics, treatment planning, and patient monitoring systems. The company's mission statement reflected Michael's belief that successful technology entrepreneurship required alignment between profit generation and social benefit, creating products and services that improved lives while generating returns for investors and opportunities for employees throughout their career development and professional growth. The client entertainment and business development activities that formed an essential component of Michael's leadership responsibilities included dinners at Silicon Valley's most exclusive restaurants, corporate hospitality events at premium venues like Levi's Stadium and Chase Center, and golf outings at prestigious country clubs throughout the Bay Area where business relationships could be developed and maintained in relaxed social settings that enabled deeper conversation and trust building than formal office meetings typically provided. The entertainment expense, which averaged over $1 monthly, represented strategic investments in relationship building that generated client referrals, partnership opportunity, and strategic alliances that supported NeuralSync's growth while establishing Michael's reputation as a sophisticated business leader who understood the importance of personal connections and social interaction in technology industry success. The professional wardrobe that Michael maintained for his various business and social obligations reflected his understanding that success in Silicon Valley's technology industry required projecting innovation, competent, cultural authenticity through appearance and presentation that impressed clients and investors while demonstrating his personal taste and appreciation for quality design and craftsmanship. His collection of casual business attire, custom-tailored for optimal fit and comfort, in collaborations with sustainable fashion designers and premium brands that aligned with his family's environmental values while maintaining the professional credibility and social positioning that distinguished successful technology entrepreneurs from corporate executives and traditional biz professionals. The continuing education and professional development that Michael pursued through industry organizations like the Silicon Valley Leadership Group and the Stanford Directors Network included attendance at exclusive conferences, participation in executive education programs, and involvement in thought leadership initiatives that provided updates on technology trends, regulatory developments, and best practices in artificial intelligence applications, while offering networking opportunities with other technology leaders, venture capitalists, and industry experts whose relationships could generate business opportunities and strategic guidance throughout his continued career advancement and company development. Lucas's educational experience at Peninsula School reflected the kind of elite academic preparation and character development that distinguished students who would later gain admission to institutions like Stanford, MIT, and other universities that produced the next generation of technology leaders, scientific researchers, and social innovators throughout their undergraduate education and subsequent graduate studies or professional careers. The school's annual tuition, $0 per child, provided access to small class sizes with individualized attention from faculty who held advanced degrees from leading universities, state-of-the-art laboratory facilities for STEM education, and extensive extracurricular programs that developed leadership skills while fostering creativity and social responsibility throughout students' academic and personal growth. The advanced STEM program that Lucas participated in included robotics competitions, where his team had achieved regional and state-level recognition for innovative design and programming excellence, environmental science projects that addressed real-world sustainability challenges through technology applications and data analysis, and computer programming courses that provided foundation skills in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and software development that would support his future academic and career goals in technology innovation and scientific research. The robotics achievements that had distinguished Lucas among his academic and extracurricular peers reflected not only his individual talent and dedication, but also the comprehensive support system that his family had provided through private tutoring, summer enrichment programs, and access to advanced equipment and laboratory facilities that enabled him to pursue ambitious projects and develop sophisticated technical skills that typically required university-level resources and professional mentorship. His robotics team's success in designing autonomous underwater vehicles for environmental monitoring had earned recognition from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute and invitations to present their work at youth technology conferences throughout California and the Pacific Northwest. Environmental activism that Lucas pursued through both school-based and community organizations reflected his generation's natural concern about climate change and sustainability challenges, while providing opportunities for leadership development and civic engagement that would enhance his applications and personal character development. His involvement in organizing beach cleanup events, advocating for renewable energy initiatives at Palo Alto City Council meetings, and developing educational programs for younger students demonstrated the kind of social responsibility and community engagement that distinguished applicants to elite universities and competitive scholarship programs. Emma's educational and personal development at Peninsula School demonstrated the same combination of academic excellence and creative expression that characterized her brother's achievements, with particular strengths in computer programming, digital art creation, and community service that reflected her generation's comfort with technology integration and social awareness throughout their learning and personal growth experience. Her involvement in the school's coding program included developing mobile applications that addressed environmental and social challenges, creating digital artwork that raised awareness about important issues, and teaching basic programming skills to younger students who wanted to explore technology careers and creative applications. The volunteer work that Emma performed teaching computer skills to elderly residents at various senior centers throughout the South Bay, including regular visits to Serenity Gardens Senior Living, where I resided, though she had no awareness of my true identity or the irony of her provide technology assistance to residents in a facility that I actually owned and operated, reflected the kind of intergenerational connection and community service that distinguished young people who understood their privileges and advantages came with responsibilities to help others and contribute positively to their communities throughout their personal development and character formation. The family vacations that the Chens enjoyed annually reflected their financial resources and commitment to providing cultural and educational experiences that broadened their children's perspectives, creating family memories and strengthening relationships through shared adventures and exploration of different environments, cultures, and learning opportunities throughout domestic and international travel experience. Their typical vacation destinations included luxury eco-resorts in Costa Rica and Hawaii that combined environmental education with family recreation, cultural immersion trips to countries like Japan and New Zealand that provided exposure to different societies and technological approaches, and adventure travel experiences in locations like Patagonia and Alaska that challenged their families' comfort zones while fostering appreciation for natural environments and conservation priorities. The luxury accommodations and travel experiences that the family enjoyed, with typical vacation budgets ranging from $25,000 to $45,000 per trip, depending on destination and duration, reflected their ability to access premium services and exclusive experiences while maintaining their commitment to sustainable tourism and cultural sensitivity throughout their travel planning and destination choices. The vacations also provided opportunities for family bonding and relationship building away from their demanding Silicon Valley schedules, while exposing Lucas and Emma to different cultures, environment perspectives that would broaden their understanding of global challenges and opportunities throughout their continued education and personal development. The family's financial planning and wealth management strategies reflected their assumption that their current income and lifestyle continue indefinitely based on Michael's continued success with NeuralSync and Jessica's growing influence and earning potential through her lifestyle brand and community leadership activities. Their investment portfolio, managed by a prestigious wealth management firm in San Francisco, included diversified holdings in technology stocks, real estate investment trusts, and alternative investments that provided growth potential while managing risk through professional oversight and strategic rebalancing throughout changing market conditions and economic cycles. The estate plan and inheritance strategies that Michael and Jessica had implemented assumed continued wealth accumulation and lifestyle maintenance that would enable them to provide substantial educational and financial advantages for Lucas and Emma while supporting their own retirement goals and philanthropic intentions throughout their later years. Their financial projections and family planning decisions were based on confidence in their continued earning potential and investment returns that would support their current spending patterns while building wealth for future generations through strategic saving and investment coordination. But what Michael and Jessica never understood, throughout all their careful lifestyle curation and strategic family management, was that their comfortable assumptions about earned prosperity and financial independence were built entirely on the invisible foundation of technology invest coordination
and family wealth support that had been provided systematically by the very woman they dismissed as a sweet, but confused elderly relative, whose questions about their business seemed inappropriately intrusive, and whose suggestions about family priorities reflected outdated values, cultural expectations that were irrelevant to their contemporary Silicon Valley lifestyle and professional obligations. The monthly budget calculations that Jessica managed with pride and precision assumed income stability, investment return, and expense control that were actually supported by Chen Digital Industries' strategic business coordination, the Chen Innovation Foundation's educational assistance programs, and complex financial arrangements that appeared as favorable market conditions, business opportunity, and fortunate timing, rather than deliberate family support and invisible wealth coordination throughout their ongoing lifestyle maintenance and professional development in Silicon Valley's competitive and expensive environment, had begun as what should have been a celebration of family achievement and intergenerational pride. Lucas's 12th birthday represented not just another year in his young life, but a milestone that demonstrated the success of the comprehensive educational and character development investment that I had been coordinating through the Chen Innovation Foundation's youth programs and academic partnership. I had been looking forward to this family gathering, not just as a proud grandmother celebrating her grandson's birthday, but as an opportunity to begin discussing the succession planning and wealth transfer strategies that would ensure Lucas and Emma's continued educational advantages, teaching them about family responsibility and the importance of honoring elderly relatives whose wisdom and generosity had created their opportunities. The afternoon had proceeded normally in my Mountain View apartment, where I had spent several hours coordinating Chen Digital Industries' quarterly technology review and analyzing market developments that would influence investment strategies throughout the artificial intelligence and quantum computing sector. The March financial reports showed exceptional performance across all portfolio categories, with technology patents generating licensing revenue that exceeded projections by $4.2 million for the quarter, while the Chen Innovation Foundation had just approved its spring scholarship disbursement, including educational support for 47 exceptional students throughout the Bay Area, whose academic achievements and character development had qualified them for advanced research opportunities and mentorship programs. I had prepared carefully for the evening's celebration, selecting an elegant navy blue dress and the pearl earrings that David had given me for our 30th wedding anniversary, along with a special gift for Lucas, a custom-designed tablet containing interactive presentations about the Chen family's immigration history, David's pioneering work in early semiconductor development, and my own career in artificial intelligence research, along with a letter explaining Lucas's future role in the Chen Innovation Foundation and the responsibilities that would accompany his inheritance of both wealth and community service obligations throughout his academic and professional development. The celebration dinner at Michael and Jessica's Palo Alto home had begun warmly, with Lucas proudly sharing his recent robotics achievements and his excitement about the upcoming state-level competition, where his team would present their environmental monitoring system. Emma had contributed enthusiastically to the conversation, discussing her own coding projects and expressing admiration for her brother's technical accomplishment. Michael had seemed genuinely pleased about Lucas's progress, discussing how these early experiences would enhance his future college applications and career prospects in technology innovation and scientific research. Jessica had prepared an elaborate birthday feast featuring Lucas's favorite foods, and their dining room had been decorated with sophisticated birthday arrangements that reflected their family's aesthetic preferences and attention to detail. The conversation during dinner had included discussion of Lucas's academic goals, his interest in pursuing engineering studies at Stanford and the various research opportunities that would become available as he progressed through high school and began preparing for university admission and career development. But as the evening progressed and the birthday celebration moved into the living room for gift opening and family conversation, an unexpected tension began to develop around the topic of family traditions and intergenerational relations. Lucas had asked me to share stories about my early career in technology, expressing genuine curiosity about what Silicon Valley had been like during the 1970s and 1980s, when the computer industry was still emerging from university research laboratories and garage-based startups throughout the peninsula region. Grandma Eleanor, what was it really like working in technology when there were so few women in the field? Lucas asked with the kind of thoughtful interest that distinguished young people who understood the importance of learning from previous generations' experiences and challenges. Did you feel like you had to work harder than the men to prove yourself? And how did you manage to succeed in such a competitive environment? I had begun sharing some carefully selected stories about my early research work and the challenges of being one of very few women in computer science during an era when systematic discrimination was both legal and socially acceptable. When Jessica interrupted with visible irritation and what appeared to be growing concern about the direction of our conversation, Lucas, I think we should focus on your birthday celebration, rather than getting into complicated historical discussions that might be confusing or overwhelming. Jessica said with the kind of redirecting tone she used when managing social situations that didn't align with her family's time management and emotional energy priority. Grandma Eleanor has had a long day, and we want to make sure everyone enjoys the party without getting too serious or intense about topics that are probably too mature for a birthday celebration. The dismissal of Lucas's genuine interest in family history and my career experiences serious for a family gathering revealed Jessica's systematic approach to controlling conversations and preventing discussions that might challenge her children's understanding of their family's success or create expectations about gratitude and respect for elderly relatives who had contributed their advantages throughout their educational and social development. But Mom, I really want to learn about Grandma's career and what it was like for her generation. Lucas persisted with the kind of respectable determination that reflected his genuine curiosity and appreciation for intergenerational wisdom. She was working in technology before most of the companies we know today even existed. Don't you think that's important family history that we should understand and appreciate? Jessica's response to Lucas's reasonable request and his demonstration of family loyalty revealed the extent to which her control over family dynamics had become prioritized over respect for elderly relatives and recognition of their contributions to family's success and opportunity creation. Lucas, this conversation is becoming inappropriate and disrespectful to our family's evening plans, Jessica said with sharp authority designed to end discussion and establish her dominance over family communication and cultural education priority. Your grandmother's stories about the past aren't relevant to your birthday celebration, and continuing this discussion would be inconsiderate to everyone else who wants to enjoy the party without being burdened by lengthy historical conversations that don't contribute to our celebration goal. The characterization of family history and elderly wisdom as burdensome and inconsiderate represented exactly the kind of cultural dismissal and generational disrespect that distinguished families who had lost understanding of their obligations to honor elderly relatives and appreciate.
3 days later, on March 18th, I invited Michael, Jessica, Lucas, and Emma to what I told them would be a family dinner to discuss our future relationships and family planning. They arrived at my apartment expecting another opportunity for Jessica to offer a superficial apology and for family life to return to their comfortable assumptions about elderly tolerance and financial security. Instead, they found themselves seated around my dining room table while I read aloud the new will that I had executed that morning with my estate planning attorney, documenting the complete restructuring of Chen Digital Industries, the Chen Innovation Foundation, and all family trust arrangements that had previously supported their lifestyle and professional opportunities. I, Eleanor Chen, being of sound mind and clear judgment, do hereby revoke all previous wills and testament and establish the following distribution of my assets upon my death, I began, watching their faces as the magnitude of what they were about to learn slowly began to register. To my son Michael Chen and his wife Jessica Chen, who have demonstrated through their words and actions that they consider me just an elderly woman living off charity, whose contributions to their family are relevant, and whose physical safety is less important than their social comfort. I leave the sum of $1 each, along with this letter explaining why their inheritance has been forfeited through their systematic disrespect and abuse of the elderly relative, whose invisible support created every advantage they mistakenly attributed to their own merit and hard work. The silence that followed was deafening as Michael and Jessica began to understand that their assumptions about my limited resources and modest retirement lifestyle had been catastrophically wrong, and that the consequences of their treatment would affect every aspect of their financial security and professional opportunities for the rest of their lives. To my grandson Lucas Chen and my granddaughter Emma Chen, who demonstrated respect, curiosity, and appreciation for family history and elderly wisdom, even when pressured by their parents to dismiss and ignore their grandmother's experiences and contributions, I leave the sum of $50 million to be held in trust and administered by the Chen Innovation Foundation until they reach the age of 30, provided they complete undergraduate and graduate education at accredited universities, demonstrate good character through community service and family responsibility, and maintain respectful relationships with elderly community members throughout their personal and professional development. Lucas and Emma sat in stunned silence as they learned that their inheritance would dwarf anything their parents might have accumulated through Michael's business success, while also understanding that their future wealth came with serious responsibilities and character requirements that would guide their development throughout their education and early careers. The remainder of my estate, including Chen Digital Industries and all technology investments, and business operations currently valued at approximately $280 million, will be donated to establish the Chen Institute for Intergenerational Respect and Community Innovation, a research and education foundation that will study family dynamics, elderly care, and the importance of honoring previous generations' contributions while supporting breakthrough innovations in technology, healthcare, and social services that benefit communities throughout the world. As I completed reading the will and the detailed explanations of how their previous inheritance expectations had been redistributed based on character assessment and family loyalty evaluation, Michael and Jessica's shock transformed into panic as they began to calculate the financial implications of losing access to the invisible support systems that had enabled their Silicon Valley lifestyle and professional success. The following months brought rapid changes to their circumstances as Chen Digital Industries implemented ownership, transition, and operational restructuring that affected every aspect of their previous advantages and opportunity. NeuralSync Technologies was sold to a major healthcare company, with Michael receiving a modest severance package, but losing his CEO position and the prestigious office space that had impressed clients and competitors. Their Palo Alto home, purchased with financing that had been guaranteed through Chen Digital's banking relationships, faced foreclosure proceedings, when their reduced income could no longer support the mortgage payments and property maintenance costs. Jessica's lifestyle blog and social media presence collapsed as their reduced circumstances made it impossible to maintain the luxury travel, premium products, and aesthetic perfection that had attracted followers and brand partnership. Her volunteer leadership positions became untenable when other prominent families learned about the inheritance situation and the reasons for family wealth redistribution, leading to social isolation and loss of community influence that had previously defined her identity and self-worth. But the most profound changes occurred in Lucas and Emma's understanding of family responsibility and elderly respect as they began volunteering with senior centers and elderly care organizations, learning directly from older community members about the wisdom, experience, and contributions that their generation could provide to address contemporary challenges and social needs. Their volunteer work became the foundation for scholarship applications and character development that prepared them for leadership roles in technology and social innovation, while building genuine appreciation for intergenerational cooperation and family loyalty. As I write this conclusion from my beautiful new home, overlooking the Pacific Ocean in Carmel by the Sea, purchased with proceeds from the Chen Institute's endowment, and surrounded by family photographs that now include pictures of Lucas and Emma's volunteer work and academic achievement, I am filled with satisfaction that justice has been served while creating opportunities for positive character development and community benefit throughout the region. The family that had dismissed me as an irrelevant elderly woman, whose physical safety was less important than their social comfort, discovered that respect for elderly relatives isn't optional courtesy. It's the foundation for continued access to family wealth and the character requirement that determines whether families build meaningful legacies or destroy opportunities through systematic dismissal of generational wisdom, traditional value. The slap that Jessica delivered in anger became the catalyst for a comprehensive transformation that affected not only our family relationships, but also created lasting institutions for research, education, and community service that will benefit thousands of people throughout future generations. Sometimes the most valuable lesson families can learn is that wealth privilege requires character accountability, and elderly respect isn't negotiable. It's the foundation that determines whether comfortable lifestyles continue or disappear when family loyalty is tested during moments of genuine crisis and moral assessment. The Chen Institute for Intergenerational Respect and Community Innovation continues to operate from its headquarters in Palo Alto, where Lucas and Emma now serve as student advisors while completing their undergraduate studies at Stanford and MIT respectively. They understand that their inheritance represents not just financial security, but responsibility to honor elderly wisdom while building technology innovations that benefit communities and strengthen family relationships throughout their lifelong commitment to respect, gratitude, and serve. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.